In the first 4 months of 2026, 68% of Google searches in the US ended without a single click to any website. AI Overview shows up, the top organic result loses roughly 58% of its clicks. People just read the summary and they move on. If you're running a store and wondering why traffic feels harder to get, even though nothing about your SEO has changed, this is probably why. Hi everyone, I'm Sonia. I help e-commerce founders figure out what's actually holding their stores back so that they understand their own numbers and can make sharper decisions going forward. In this video, I'm going to break down what's actually different between SEO and GEO right now, show you exactly how to check if your store is actually getting cited, AI answered, and what to actually do about it. So let's dive into it. Here's what's actually happening right now. When an AI overview shows up on a search, the top organic search result loses approximately 58% of its click-through rate. Like I as well, I would read the summary and I'm going to move on. And Pew Research, they found that people are only clicking through now 8% of the time when an AI summary is present, compared to 15% when there isn't one. And AI overviews are already showing up on nearly half of searches in some industries. So here's the split. SEO gets you ranked, GEO gets you cited, mentioned inside the answer itself, even when nobody clicks through afterward. Classic SEO looks mostly at your own page, your keywords, your backlinks, and your site's overall structure. GEO, on the other hand, is looking a lot wider. It pulls from forums, from reviews, other people talking about you across the web. According to eMarketer, fewer than 10% of sources cited in ChatGPT, in Gemini, in Copilot even rank in the top 10 Google results for that same query. So ranking well and getting cited are increasingly becoming two different games. And here's the part that should actually change how you think about this. The Washington Post found visitors arriving from AI platforms convert 4 to 5 times higher than visitors from traditional search. So there's less traffic, but it's far more qualified. And that's where there's an opportunity. So let me show you how to check and fix this without just talking about it. Okay, so first I've just opened ChatGPT and we want to ask a real question a customer might actually be asking in a category. So let's take e-commerce. We're going to ask, what is the most comfortable at-home clothing brands? Sustainable and cotton, 100% cotton. So here we see it gave a list of brands, and it's interesting to see that all of these brands, none of the links are from their own website. Revolve, for example, is a retailer that holds organic basics. And then you have another link for organic basics, which is from a website called Recolution. So again, it's not their own site. Harvest and Mill, it's The Good Trade, which seems to be a blog. And then you have Pact, and the link is to Sustainable Jungle. So it's not directly to all of their own websites. Hes Natur is the first one where the link to their own website is being shown. And if we look at the structure of all the sites that are being cited, you see there's a lot of details. So they give the characteristics. Here you see the keyword Nachhaltigkeit, which is sustainability. It talks about the amount of cotton, so it's not 100% bio cotton. Baumwolle is cotton. And here as well, it's 100% cotton. Notice as well that all of them have reviews. And here as well, the recommendation for Pact came not from their own site, not from a retailer, but it came from a comparison article on products. And you see as well, Organic Basics is also on here. And if we search for Pact, we see organic cotton is mentioned, comfortable, sustainable. So all those keywords that I gave in are being mentioned in these paragraphs. So let's take this blog post, for example, and then let's go into Claude. And let's ask Claude if this page is structured enough to be cited. We know already that it is, but let's just see what it gives. So it's saying it's well structured, there's very clear hierarchy in titles, a jump link index, so that's like the anchor text at the top where you can jump to the right section. It's dated, and there's an author behind the article, which also adds authority. And they even created a methodology section, which is super interesting. They broke down like how they actually researched these brands and created their list. So they're really hitting all of these points for authority and trust signals. It also gives what could be improved, naming that it's a commercial site, so there's a lot of monetized shop links. So they do have affiliate links where they earn a bit of money every time someone clicks on those links or buys something, through those links. So this kind of article will appear more for like commercial purposes, but for any deeper, more trustworthy sources of info, it might not appear for, especially if someone is really diving into wanting to make sure that how sustainable these specific brands are, for example. And there's no formal citations list, which also is something small that they could improve upon to make sure that they're appearing more often. If there was something more rigorous, like what does a GOTS certification actually require, or independent verification of content sourcing claims, it would make this particular blog article harder to show up for something like that, for example. So I'm really trying to show here that GEO visibility depends really on matching your content to the type of query you're trying to get cited for, and not just about being well structured in general, and how, depending on how you structure and write your article, you're going to be appearing for different long tail queries. And the more people use these language learning models, the more specific you have to get for specific queries, right? Because people are probably going to be typing a bit different with a language learning model than they would in Google. In Google, they want to be quick, but they might be rambling a bit more, not really sure what they want. They might be using the voice to text feature, making their sentences a lot longer. There's really a lot more possibilities, in my opinion, with language learning models than with Google, which also gives you more opportunities to rank for different keywords, but just something to be aware of when you're writing articles or doing ghostwriting for other websites that then link back and cite your products. So obviously this changes depending on the query, like what I said earlier about how they probably wouldn't show up if someone asked a deeper question about certifications. So for a broader question, the Roundup blog gets cited and matches those keywords, but then pushing the question deeper and the citation starts to shift. So we just see the brand's own site everywhere being cited and nobody else is getting cited anymore. That's because that's where like the actual depth on this subject then lives. So the lesson here is different content gets cited for different levels of specificity. So it's worth knowing which kind of question your page is actually built to answer. And you can stress test this, you can try a lot of different queries, you can deep dive and just see what shows up, what kind of answers come back about your brand, about your products, who is being cited, how often is it your own site, and are the answers putting you into a positive or negative light. So here, for example, it's classifying that some of the products are 100% cotton. So with GEO, you really want to make sure that the answers match the truth, and also what you're marketing and putting out there just from a brand perspective and building trust with your customers matches that as well, because it's so easy nowadays to look anything up, and if the information coming back doesn't match what you are putting out there as a brand, you want to make sure that you're dealing with that. So the attribution gap. It's worth being honest about what's still unresolved. AI referral traffic is still small. Just over 1% of total web clicks come from AI answers. So this isn't the main channel yet, not by a long way. But the real question isn't how small that number is right now. It's whether you're showing up when someone asks an AI a question that you want to lead to your store, and whether that visibility is turning into any money at all. Brands built into shopping assistants have a clearer path there. Conversation often ends in an actual purchase. General AI answers are less direct. Someone gets an answer and maybe they come back, maybe they go directly onto the site on a new tab. You can't really track directly if that mention led to a purchase. But it doesn't mean that showing up in that mention was worthless. So here's the real takeaway. The way people use the internet and the way that they shop is changing. As a founder, you don't need to optimize for every single AI platform out there. That's just not realistic. But you do need to be working on visibility across all of them, not just Google, because that's generally where people are starting to look now. So concretely, that means 3 things. Ask an AI a real question that a customer in your category would ask, and see if you show up at all. Look at what does get cited, and notice it's usually structured, plainly stated, often written by someone other than the brand itself, and it's not polished sales copy. And treat that as your starting checklist. So that's it for this one. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, then please like and subscribe, because I am going to be doing these videos weekly. If you also want me to cover a specific topic, let me know. I'll be happy to answer it. I'll see you in the next one.